It's okay. It's okay to make a mistake. Just say
it.
Just say, you know what? I made a mistake and I was wrong. But there are a lot of liberals who are like, yeah, you were wrong. Don't sit in it.
And liberals that do that, shut the up.
Welcome, guys.
Hello, party people. How are you today? You wearing a seatbelt? You drink enough water? What are you doing? You on a treadmill? Welcome to another episode of Guys We Bloop Bloop.
It's the Anti-Slut Shaming Podcast. I'm Corinne Fisher.
I'm Krystyna Hutchinson.
Welcome to the show. If you want to email us, it's sorryaboutlastnightshow@gmail.com. Also, I'm running for mayor.
You are?
I am running for. I mean, you might have heard.
Oh my God!
I'm running for mayor. If you're sick of that, you know what? Well, I'm sick of people taking advantage of us as constituents. You know, just people who are voting. If you haven't donated yet, I'm going to keep asking you. It's like literally, it's just so simple because if every single person listening, U.S. residents and Americans living abroad only, donated just $10, we would just have so much money.
Cuomo who?
Yeah.
I don't know about that, but.
Yeah, no, they'd probably still be familiar with.
Well, here's the thing, man.
With our boy.
If we get, if we get all those dollars, especially from New Yorkers, because we have a certain date to get matching funds.
Yeah.
We can get a billboard out.
Yeah.
That starts a little fight.
Yeah.
With our boy Cuomo.
Yeah.
He's a bad boy.
We just need $10 per person. And some of you have given so much more than that. And many of you have given multiple times. And I want to reiterate how generous specifically the listeners of Guys We Fucked and Without a Country have been. You guys have been amazing. Like truly the campaign could not exist without you. And this is a targeted attack at all the other comedians that we work with.
If you're listening and you're the girlfriend of a New York City comedian, please know we're mad at your boyfriend. Yeah.
God bless.
Number one, yes. Number two, we're mad at your boyfriend.
Yeah. I would say listeners have been so great, but oh man, comics love to talk about how we're changing the conversation. We're so brave going on stage every day with our microphones every night, half drunk, just eating a plate of nachos. No. Really, talking to people who bought tickets because they already agree with us. We're so brave.
Ooh,
the lack of donations from people, and please listen. I understand that a lot of comedians are not doing super well financially. They have I've seen them drink beer after beer. They have $10, and also they certainly have had no problem when they needed to ask us for favors. I will be a mayor for all comedians, but I will not be a friend to all comedians after this campaign. Put it on a bumper sticker. It would be fine if I didn't have to read post after post of political change from all these comedians who I don't even think are voting in municipal elections. I don't even think are registered in New York City. They're registered back home because their vote makes a difference. You've lived here for 20 years. Register where you live. Stop.
Be an adult. Get your driver's license here.
Stop. What are you doing? Why are you still registered at your mom's house? Grow up.
Well, everybody in London is very excited for you to be mayor.
Well, that's lovely.
And they said
they are overly interested in U.S. politics.
Well, I mean, it is interesting. I will say, though, when I landed in London, I read the news that Russell Brand is being charged for rape. And I'm like, isn't it great to be in a city that arrests a rapist instead of electing a rapist?
Right.
That's nice. Good for you, London.
When that news came out, I was like, oh, man, who could have ever imagined he'd be a rapist except for anyone who's ever seen or heard him?
Yeah. All the comics knew.
Did you see he did another one of his classic response videos?
Oh, he did?
Oh, yeah.
Wait.
You got to go to his classic response about how it's, all the cards are stacked against him.
Oh, my God.
It's a big conspiracy. I'm so mad that I can't do my bits now because I love appearing on Without a Country as Russell Brand. That's my one character that I do.
Well, he got really into Christianity and was baptized last year.
Well, you have to when you've raped so many people.
Yes.
That's the only way out.
To get a bad boy bath.
Yeah. Anytime someone just goes Christian out of nowhere, you go,
it's not good.
Can't wait till the rape allegations start flowing.
And it's never, you always hear men doing this. It's because they want to because he said he got baptized a year ago. He's like, I wanted to wash myself of my past. I'm like, you raped.
Yeah.
Wait, what did he say?
Yeah.
Is it the pinned one?
With his goofy ass.
This fucking ass hat? Oh my God.
It was
Katy Perry dodged a bullet. So you know what? And this is a relationship podcast. Sometimes you get dumped by somebody you think is the best.
I think it's the one where he's wearing the hat on the beach.
Messages of support
Support.
We're very fortunate in a way to live in a time where there's so little trust in the British government. We're very fortunate, I suppose, that this is happening at a time where we know that the law has become a kind of weapon to be used
against criminals,
institutions, and sometimes entire nations that will not accept and tolerate levels of corruption that are unprecedented. I'm speaking particularly to those of you that are watching this in the UK. How do you feel about your legal system right
Get
now?
to the rape.
How do you feel about some of the high-profile cases that are not being pursued and prosecuted? How do you feel that the Southport murders were handled? How do you feel
off topic
about the
there.
government of Keir Starmer? Now, that's just sort of general context. I've always told you guys that when I was young and single, before I had my wife and family, we're just out of shot over there, my beautiful children, I was a fool, man. I was a fool.
You were a rapist.
Before I lived in the light of the Lord. A sex addict and an imbecile. But what I never was a rapist. I've never engaged in non-consensual activity. I pray that you can see that by looking in my eyes.
Well, if I don't care about anything else he says in that video. There was only 2 seconds left. Well, if prayer works, Rusty Poots, pray your way out of this one. If prayer's so potent.
He is so repulsive.
He's gross, man.
Just like anyone who believes him, I really question everything about him. He's so transparently a villain.
Yeah.
He's like a caricature of a villain. Like he actually reminds me of Captain Hook a little bit.
A Christian Captain Hook.
Yeah.
Captain Cross.
Yeah, I'm like, when someone in real life reminds you of Captain Hook,
they're probably
methinks they're not a good person.
Smee!
Yeah. Like, come on.
Oh, God.
That's what frustrates me so much, how people are so easily tricked by these bad people.
Well, I think that as a society, we need to be more privy to the fact that a person can have good ideas and interesting and philosophize in a way that's interesting and moving and has good points. But that person, they can also be a rapist at the same time. Ugh. A person can be a brilliant comedian and be a rapist. A person can be, a political leader that has done good things and be a rapist. It's these opposites exist in people, and but the rape part. Oh boy, I really hope one day the world will care that a man has raped. And I was thinking about this too. One of the things, when you apologize for something you've done, and I'm talking a real, authentic, deep, humble, potentially humiliating, I don't know that's how you look at it, apology. I think that's how everybody can heal. And if you are a famous man, we see this time and time again, who has raped multiple people, and the proof is all there, man. The proof is all there. And you keep denying it, stop it. You're a piece of shit. You're full of shit. And because the thing that's crazy to me is you actually have a shot at redemption, truly redemption, if you are honest about what you did. This whole, they were saying I'm a rapist and I did, oh my God. Shut the fuck up and just say you did it. Stop gaslighting us. I'm so fucking sick of the gaslighting.
Yeah, I don't know that I would accept an apology for multiple rapes. I got to be honest. I would say next lifetime. Yeah, try again.
But at least I can only speak for myself. I would see you as a human and respect you a little bit. For talking about the bad thing you did, because no one's talking about it. When the Me Too movement resurfaced, motherfuckers were getting called out left and right for doing things of varying levels.
Right, yeah.
And there are varying levels.
It depends on
Harvey Weinstein and a Louis C.K., they're two different levels.
Yeah.
They just are, right?
Yeah.
But the only man that got called out that had something to say that I was like, oh, fucking K, was Dan Harmon. Do you remember that?
I don't remember his apology. I remember the instance.
Yeah, and he called out his disgusting behavior. And he called out why he did it. And I was like, this motherfucker, thank you. Like, I felt some sense of, thank God. Because when all of these guys are getting called out and they keep just saying, she's a liar, it's a witch hunt, I'm Christian now.
Yeah, we know all those male witches. I was like, yeah, everyone's Giles Corey. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
You're the one.
Yeah. You're a warlock.
Oh, God.
It's so annoying. But yeah, I'm just like, can we just, if anything, and maybe it's not forgiveness or whatever, but it would just be so fucking refreshing if we could get some goddamn motherfucking honesty up in this bitch.
Let's just all get on the same page at least.
Yeah. Okay, guys, if you want to email us, it's sorryaboutlastnightshow@gmail.com.
And if you want to donate, it's www.CorinneFisher.com.
Fuck yeah.
CORINNE.
FISHER.
Correct, yes. So this email is from a listener I was going to say there's a name. There's not. The subject line is, my sex drive is in the negatives. Hey, Corinne and Krystyna, love the podcast. I just turned 24 last week. Ugh, remember that? And over the last couple years, I went from wanting to have sex anywhere, anytime to not wanting to have sex at all. Up until I was 22, I was never in a relationship aside from 9 crappy months I spent with a loser who was mistreating me. Well,
that was a relationship.
That's a relationship when you're 22. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I absolutely loved being single because I was able to do whatever I wanted and I could fuck whoever I wanted. Unfortunately, up until the age of 21, my favorite people to fuck were the ones I shouldn't have been fucking, i.e. guys in relationships, my best friend's twin brother, or coworkers.
Oh, okay, yeah.
With these guys, I would love to have kinky sex, like with toys, dressing up, and really getting it rough. Always done in secret and always stayed between me and the guy.
That sounds fun.
I lived for the thrill and the dirty secrets I was keeping. When I was 21, I moved abroad for a year and was basically partying, drinking, and having sex all the time.
Okay.
Although I had previously explored a lot, I started having threesomes and a lot of drunk late night sex. Fast track to August 2023 when I came back, I fell for my coworker at the time and have been dating him ever since. Snoot. No.
Boring.
We've had a lot of ups and downs, but the past few months have been really stable. Yeah, I mean, your early 20s are going to be filled with ups and downs.
That's the sound of your pussy snoring.
Yeah. Last time we had sex was December 2024.
Okay, that was a while ago.
Yeah, especially for being this young. Yeah. When we were on vacation and it was fine.
Oh, yay.
But as time goes on, I feel like I lose my sex drive more and more. It's twice now since we try to have sex and I kind of have to force myself to get into it. But if he does one thing to turn me off, I'll lose all interest.
Yeah, that's because you used to be like fucking Indiana Jones out in these streets, and now you have something stable, and you're like,
yeah. All my life, it used to be a slip and slide down there, and now it constantly feels like a desert. I can't even remember the last time I got wet. Okay, well, that's actually really odd for someone young. Okay. Even when I try to have sex with my boyfriend, he gets it wet by spitting on it because it's so dry.
Oh, lube is cool too.
I am attracted to him and he is a great sex partner, but I just have zero sex drive, not only with me, but in general. Keep in mind the last 2 times as he was able to stick it in, he went soft and he doesn't know why. Well, probably because it hurt because it was so dry.
Yeah. He doesn't want to fuck a desert sand.
He might have been subconsciously feeding off my energy. Sure. I thought he was the problem, so I would let my mind wander and try to think about fucking other guys, imagining myself in certain situations that would usually get me going, but I have absolutely no desire to have sex with my boyfriend or anyone. The thought of sucking dick now makes me feel weird, cringe, even though I used to always love having a big dick in my mouth. I don't even... I can't wait till Andrew Cuomo gets that soundbite. I don't even masturbate anymore. Yeah, anything related to sex does not interest me, nor do I ever think of it. The only thing I could think of is that in December I finished school and started working my full-time job. I'm currently in a headspace where I just want to work my 9 to 5, go for coffee with friends, work out, see my boyfriend, and live my little simple life stress-free.
That's okay,
For once in my life, I'm not thinking about my next big adventure. I'm just taking it easy. I would really love your guys' input on my situation. I know I'm 24 and not 19 anymore.
You're so old, bitch.
That's a really funny sentence. And it happens to so many people. No, not at 24, it doesn't. Stop. You're not old. But I just want to emphasize I'm staying open-minded, but I don't think something is wrong with my boyfriend. No, I don't think it either. I think something might be wrong with you. Not like meaning like like either like something mentally or physically I would actually get checked out. It's just in general, I have zero interest in anything sex related, nor do I ever think of it. Or you could just be coming into your own and be asexual.
I go through these ebbs and flows too. I mean, it's very rare for me to not be horny. However, it has happened.
Yeah. My boyfriend does not put pressure on me and he's aware of the situation and he's open to finding some solutions. He's a really great guy. Thanks in advance. Yes. I mean, okay. So yes, I do think it's absolutely normal to go through periods where you're disinterested in sex, especially when you're just kind of like really into
are you depressed?
Work. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I was like, this seems like you might be depressed and not know it. It's because it's not because even if you're not like interested in having sex, the fact that you're not even getting wet to me as a young person actually speaks to, I feel like something larger. That just feels very odd to me.
Well, and how at the beginning of this podcast, we've said things like, wait for anal, like do freaky shit, like wait to do freaky shit with your partner, because then it's like, well, what are you going to say? You want to save something for yourself. Right. And so maybe, look though, when I was 19, I was fucking everyone. Well, not everybody, but a bunch of people. And I loved it. And I had this I had a rotation for a lot of my 20s up until I met Steven, which was, 23? I was 23. Oh, fuck. So I only had like fucking 3 years in my 20s. That sucks. But I was just so like living it up, right? And so I think it could be like maybe your nervous system was set to this like higher speed of being sexual, and now that you have something a little more steady, you don't know what to do with it. I'm wondering if has a part to play in it too. But you also have to think like you really want to get to know your own erotic imagination, and there's ways to do that are really simple and really easy, and it can involve a conversation with your partner. It could just be you, where you just sit and think about like, what do I think is sexy about a woman's body? What do I think is sexy about a man's body, or my own body, or something? Just start somewhere really simple. Watching like what was the show? The Tudors was on the TV last night. Whew, that's just softcore porn. It was great. I'm like, I love this show. I could watch this show forever. It was just great, hot people having sex. It was so many titties. We have vaginas, there's penis. It was great. So that's up my alley. But, get to know your own erotic imagination, because it ebbs and flows. And the things that you think are hot when you're 19 are going to be completely different when you're 24, even though that's not a huge difference. I feel like every year we're a new person, right? Yeah. And so there could be stress factors. I'd be curious, like, how stressful is your lifestyle? Is it stressful? Maybe you need that stress to feel horny. Sometimes people like want to be put in like a relatively hot, quote, high stakes situation. There's all kinds of kinky things you could do. I love, again, this is only coming from me, and I'm one of the horniest people I know, but I certainly go through ebbs and flows of this. But if I want to kind of go on a sex adventure, but I'm not feeling it, but my mind wants to, I'll go to a strip club that has good reviews, and just, you can go there with your partner and just go for a drink and then leave. And then talk about like, who'd you like there? Like, which girl was your favorite? That kind of thing. You could do that. And Esther Perel's book, Mating in Captivity, one of the interesting things that it talks about is a lot of times, we need to actually have physical touch in our body, and then our juices can be flowing. Yeah. We don't have to wait until we're wet to act on it. You can have your body stroked or touched very slowly, even if it's just your forearm. Doing these things, kind of being in touch in the simple way with your body, I think could jumpstart something for you.
Yeah, that was going to be my recommendation. I'm like, where are you guys with foreplay? Because especially young people, I think, are not really good at foreplay. And I agree. Like, my mind could be on something completely different. But then like if my boyfriend starts like touching me like softly or whatever, especially because you seem to have a good amount of trust with your boyfriend, and like slowly try to like work on something and concentrate on intimacy rather than sex. I think there could be strides to be made there. And honestly, again, because it's like, it's not like, I know he doesn't have a problem with it and he's patient, but like, bottom line is, especially at this age, like he's only going to be patient for so long. And like, I know you want to do all these things and like still have a boyfriend, but like, again, like if you're like 24 and just like not having sex for like 6 months, like that's not really like a romantic relationship anymore. Again, like this is more something that would be fine if you've been together for a long time and are kind of like partners. That's not really the kind of arrangement we see in our early 20s. Yeah. And to think that that's going to just keep coasting on, I think is a little bit naive.
Another thing to try, just make out on the couch. Yeah. Make out for like 20 minutes. People underestimate making out. It's so much fun. I make out all the time. I love it. I love it so much. And it's not even making out to get you horny. It's making out to connect intimately with your partner. That's it. It's so much fun. Oh, love making out.
Yeah, and so but I also like, have you changed any like prescriptions you're on recently?
Oh God,
you said you used to party a lot.
Your diet's
Did you go from drinking a lot to now not drinking? And then so if you were only able to like get horny and wet when you were drinking, I do think you need to look deeper into that. That's like a super common problem for people.
Oh yeah.
So again, like I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with a loss of like libido in general. They do go through ebbs and flows, but because of your age and because of the lifestyle that you used to live previously, again, I'm not saying that what you're saying is not accurate. I just want to make sure you've kind of tapped into all these areas, because obviously you thought it was significant enough that you sat down and you typed an email to us, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I want to check in with both your mental and physical health. Just, track, were there any changes to, again, diet, medicine, alcohol, drug intake, and sit down and have an actual conversation with your partner.
Yeah, and right, you said in your email your life is pretty stress-free. So I'm thinking potentially because your life wasn't stress-free and it was stress in maybe a positive way because you were having a good time, then maybe your nervous system just doesn't know how to react when you're not going, or having threesomes and getting drunk and fucking a stranger, whatever you used to do that you liked and enjoyed, maybe your nervous system's like, I don't know how to compute with this new stability.
Yeah, or like, did something happen that was like maybe like more traumatic than you're giving it credit for, like in your life, or like it just seems like there might be a little bit something else going on here. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And you know what, where there's something else going on? All over the internet, baby.
Hell yeah.
If you want to join me for political talk, not just about the mayor's race, national and international political talk, every Wednesday I do Without a Country podcast at 9 p.m. Eastern time on YouTube. You can call in the show live, and we just go over the major news stories of the week, and we find the truth somewhere between Fox and Vox. It's a very good time. You can get that at Without a Country on YouTube. You can follow me on Instagram, Without a Country, et cetera, et cetera. You know the drill. It's a fun show. I love doing it. Great community, critical thinking, very important stuff.
And guys, thank you to everybody in London who came out to the shows. I really enjoy meeting you. I say this a lot. You cannot pick your fans. You cannot pick the people that are drawn to you and that have had you in your ear for many years, which is such an honor. Yeah. But you guys are the fucking best. You're so grounded and want more for yourself and are just great people. I mean, we've all done bad things, so I'm not saying you're perfect, but like it's just such a pleasure to meet you and to talk to you. It really is. So I appreciate the conversations I had with the fuckers in London, and Top Secret Comedy Club. I mean, they don't need more promotion because they're doing great because they're packing their rooms. But holy shit, when I was asking like, hey, what comedy clubs in London? I was asking comics, but a lot of you responded and said, I go to Top Secret. So that's a great one. Thank you.
Not a secret anymore.
Yeah. But the guy, Mark, who owns it and runs it is fantastic. I had such great conversations with him. He was a street performer for many decades.
Oh, how cool.
He got into this on like a whim. Like he did it. He was asked to do an open mic and he did it. And then he just ran and he runs. It's 3 rooms. It's 2 separate locations a few blocks away. But it's 3 separate rooms. He fucking kills it. He does a great job. It's a really cool space. So thank you for coming out. I will be back, Ban. I will be back. And then if you're listening to this, if you're a Luminary subscriber, and it's the week this comes out, Baltimore, Maryland, I'm in you. April 10th, 11th, and 12th. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'm going to be headlining the Port Comedy Club in Baltimore, Maryland. Please get your tickets. The link for those is in my bio on Instagram at Krystyna Hutch. Naples, Florida, I'm doing a one-nighter in you Thursday, April 24th, Off the Hook Comedy Club. And as always, I have my Patreon, patreon.com/Krystyna Hutchinson, where for $5, you just have to be a paid member to get access to these Zooms. There's varying levels of money you can give, but whatever you're comfortable with. $5 a month. We hop on a Zoom once a week and talk about stuff. And I initially started this to be like talk about like things that, I've talked about trauma on this podcast for a long time. So I kind of just naturally used, kind of stayed with those topics for the Patreon, but really we're getting very philosophical in these Zooms, and I really appreciate it. People are bringing their situations to the table, but we're having these much bigger conversations about, well, what does this mean? What's the lesson in this? And how can I kind of integrate this into my life? It's fucking great. And on that note, I wanted to talk about something personal that I thought was interesting, and I think it would be, relatable to the listeners of this show. As you know, I've been trying to, I go through ebbs and flows of really trying to figure myself out and then absolutely taking my foot off the brake and just thinking about aliens or ghosts. I feel like those are the levels that I oscillate between. And I'm back to a lot of things in my personal life are just kind of, I don't know what the phrase would be, like on the chopping board. Like they're up in the air. They're up in the air. And usually that instability makes me fucking freak the fuck out. And I'm not saying it hasn't made me freak out, but I'm handling it better. But one of the things, I made just the most simple realization about myself, and I think it's a really common thing if you've had a fucked up childhood, and I'm talking, you know, your parents were married and they're great and they loved each other and they loved you, but your mom was an alcoholic and that fucked you up, you know, or if you were sexually abused as a kid, or if you're, you know, you were in foster homes and in foster care and you were abused there. Whatever the gamut of fucked upness that you could encounter as a child, you know, what that does is that plants these seeds in our brains. And I figured out, and it's not something, this is not the first time I've thought this about myself. It's not the first time, you know, a therapist has certainly pointed it out, and I've certainly read about it in books, but it just clicked in a different way for some reason. I have this deep-seated belief that there's something wrong with me, and I am vehemently scanning the areas in my life, my relationships, friendships, my partnerships of all kinds, my projects, people I interact with, how I'm doing financially, how I'm doing in my comedy career. I'm continuously scanning for proof that there's something wrong with me. And that's kind of the place that I operate from. And that's why, you know, when I go to have these like conversations with important people in my life, when there's like a rift and I want to fix it or I want to figure it out or see if it is fixable, I don't handle those conversations well because I freak the fuck out because I'm like, there's proof. There is something wrong with me, right? I knew it. I fucking knew it. And I almost like get like, there's this part of me that gets like excited that I was right in a way because there's that deep belief in my brain of like there's something wrong with you.
Well, then it also gives you, then it kind of takes the burden of, and I'm not saying that you're failing, but it takes the burden of failure off of you.
100%.
Because you go, I am unable to succeed because there's something wrong with me.
Sure. Oh my God, and it's a source of self-sabotage because you're like, well, there's something wrong with me, so I can't do this thing well. And it's all deep. It's like subconscious, but it's starting to come up to the surface more. And I think that we so often seek, you know, just going through this email inbox every week, a lot of us seek friendships, romantic relationships, job opportunities, where subconsciously we know that we're going to get the proof that there is something wrong with us, you know, meaning that like we go after a partner that isn't right for us.
That's for sure. Or people love doing that. Oh my God.
I think that's one of the biggest ways people subconsciously seek proof that they were right, that there's something wrong with them.
Right.
And now the next, like I know we were going to record a bonus episode. I kind of want to wait until I do this mushroom trip. I'm really interested in this mushroom trip I'm about to do because it's not, I've never done it for therapeutic purposes. And it's with an older woman that's like kind of my mom's age that I think will be really interesting. But I'm like, I don't know how you tackle that or like massage that out of you. You could say, you know, mantras, for example, of like, there's nothing wrong with me, or I am a good person, or I am whatever. None of those particularly resonate with me.
What about just accepting that because we are human, there is something wrong with all of us? Because if there was not anything wrong with us, then we would not be human.
Yeah, 100%. And I do, and I know that logically, and I know that, and I understand. Like my logical brain is so caught up on stuff, and is really like, hey, these were your circumstances that affected you. They still affect you. I got so triggered when I was in England about seeing like a loving family. Every eighth time I see parents love, like specifically a daughter, and I see the parents' love reflected in how confident that daughter is and how beautifully she walks around the world. It's like every eighth time I encounter that, it's a time warp, and I'm all of a sudden back to being 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. And I think that I'm still like grieving the person I could have been if I got 1/10 of a loving parent. And so in my logical mind is like, yes, these things happen to you. We're over it. I'm tired of thinking about it. But I see so much evidence in my life where I operate from this position of there's something wrong with you, and your mission is to get proof of that.
Well, on the flip side, first of all, I know plenty of people who had nice childhoods who are not confident.
Sure.
So that there's that to make you feel better. And then secondly, the grass is always greener, right? Because if you are loved and stuff, and then you still go out into the world and fail, you have absolutely no excuse, right?
Sure.
So like you know, when you have a foundation that is like nice and like normal, like the every day is like a fucking nightmare because you're like, well, I did all, like, there's no excuse for not being the absolute best at everything seemingly.
Yeah, I get that.
So, I mean, and that's not even like my experience. I'm just like, I think it's like whatever we always like the humanness is like whatever we have, we think about how things would have been like if we had the other thing.
Yeah, which is kind of pointless, right?
For sure.
I think it's important to like, for me, it was important to grieve like, this was the hand you were dealt, and I go a step further to going, you asked for these challenges and the parents that you got, and there's so many gifts in these challenges, and I know that, and I feel that, and I know that to be true. One of the things, though, I notice about me and my brother, because we've been talking a lot, we've been talking like every day lately, and he's one of the, he's my most treasured soul that I get to, like, I love him so much, and he had the same parents that I had, and he has been able to handle them with grace and patience in the face of their extremely out of hand difficult. Like they make things more difficult than they need to be in a way that I have never seen another person do, frankly. And I'm so in awe of him. But I one of the things I realized when I thought that about myself, of like, no, you just still think there's something wrong with you. My brother doesn't think that. He doesn't operate from that perspective. So when my mom, for example, tells him that he needs to go to therapy, which was something that came out of her mouth, he just goes, okay, Mom. Okay. Yeah. But if that came out of her mouth to me, because of that foundation is a little cracked with that seed, I would lose my shit.
Well, because there's something deep down in you that thinks you do need to go back to therapy, right? Well,
I mean, I want to go back to therapy. I do want to, but
it's like goes back to that, like, oh, you're like, oh, she is right. There is something I need to fix, but also like you feel that way about her. I mean, also it's like obviously she's talking to herself in this scenario.
Totally, she's projecting. and there's just like so many parts of myself that are available that they're just never available at the same time. Meaning, like, I could totally have so much compassion to her upbringing. I have so much compassion. I'm like, man, you know what? You could have been worse. Yeah. And I think it's pretty great that you were this and not worse. And I still think and know that. But that's the main. I've just been watching my brother handle things really beautifully. And I'm like, wow, how the fuck can you handle this shit and I can't? And I know you could be twin. You could have a twin sibling and they could have a different experience of your parents than you do, which I think is very interesting. And, he's older, he's a boy. There's so many factors. But yeah, he doesn't have this, there's something wrong with me chip on his shoulder.
Well, your parents also didn't keep a huge lie about one of the parents not being biologically the parents from your brother.
Mad true.
So, I mean, I think you have to...
Yeah, he was more pissed off about that than I was.
I think we were all more pissed off about that than you were, but then I think you finally digested it.
Yeah.
It just took a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Because we were like, still, what? We were like, wait, can you say that again? Because you said a lot of stuff that was like maybe you were more angry about than the rest of us, and then you got to that one, you're like, no, that's the one that you should be very mad about.
But that's still not the one. Well, no. You know what's makes me mad? I was raised to the worst thing you could do to your parents is lie to them. That's what I was told. I was said the worst thing you could do is lie to us. Never lie to us, Krystyna. Time and time again, I have told the truth to them, and it's just exploded in my face and been used against me.
To manipulate you.
Yeah. And I'm like, so the part that angers me the most about that situation, because I think it's a cool situation. I'm not mad that it happened to me. I think it's a very unique experience. I don't know a lot of people with this experience. Yeah. And I'm happy to have that experience under my belt because it's just very interesting. But I'm like, you motherfuckers told me not to lie to you, and this whole goddamn time you were lying to me.
Right.
Like, fuck. So you can't don't get mad at me for anything anymore. But yeah. So, but I noticed, I think one of the easiest ways that somebody who has this deep-seated belief that there's something wrong with them, the ways that we express it is in our dating life, is in our relationships. Like we subconsciously seek a partner. That's like so many times we've read emails on this podcast, and I'm not saying this is the answer every email of this scenario, but and I'm like, bitch, fucking leave. Right. What are you doing?
Right.
But it's because there's some comfort in the fact that you're getting proof that this false belief you have is correct.
Right.
Corinne for mayor. Yeah. How you doing, girl?
It's funny that you have this deep-seated belief that there's something wrong with you, but then everyone else has a deep-seated belief that there's something wrong with me.
I know, they really do. You guys got that wrong.
And then But I mean, again, it's just like, it's not that I don't believe anything is wrong with me. I believe there's things wrong with all of us. And again, like that's what makes us human.
Yeah.
Because we would be robots if nothing was wrong with us.
Yeah, we wouldn't
programmed to be perfect.
Yeah.
Which in and of itself is an imperfection, you know?
It's really, it's really tough. Tough is not the right word, but interesting, but also I get frustrated over having to watch people misunderstand you again in a new field. Of course, that's going to happen.
Misunderstand themselves, you know. Well, and it's also because no one has ever. I think because so few people have been like gifted by just someone like wanting to be honest with them, and so that's like this like bruising that we all have. Because like, you know, similar to you, I'm like, just be honest with me.
Yeah.
I love when people are honest, like even when it's like negative.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I just want
because it's truthful.
Exactly. You can't move forward with it without the correct information. In my opinion,
that saying "the truth shall set you free" is so
sure.
It's so true. It's so, and I think the heart of that starts with being truthful with yourself.
Yeah.
And then when you be truthful with yourself, and it's like, you know, if the truth turns other people off, which you will find time and time again, that the truth will turn people in your life off if you're truthful with them or you know, about a certain scenario that they don't want to look at it yet. And then you lose a friend or you lose a partner or you lose a job or whatever. I mean, that's going to happen. So it's not like the truth is this panacea for your life going well. Because a lot of times it's not, because we're in a society that has a weird relationship with the truth.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah. I just want to shout from the rooftops that you're the best candidate for mayor, and I want people to understand it and just fucking get it already.
Very nice, Krystyna. Thank you.
But it just doesn't. Everyone else is a boring liar, not a liar necessarily, but like you don't like this politics machine. And you know, you and I have been marching and shit since we've moved to New York City. We've been marching and shit. I love fighting for women's rights. I love fighting for rights of groups that I am not a part of because it makes me feel more human. Because it takes me out of myself, and I want to fucking help somebody else who needs it, right? And so we've always been, you know, like really into that. And yeah, the people that think that you're running for an ego trip, I've yet to encounter. You know, I started maybe encountering like, is this a bit? But then it's slowly been realized that it's not. Exactly.
What's funny about
that was always my response. I'm like, this would be the least funniest bit in the history of comedy.
What's the humor that I'm telling you guys that you deserve more and that you shouldn't be abused by your government?
Gotcha, bitch.
That's not funny.
She got you.
There's nothing funny about that. It's actually quite serious.
But there is like I went to Instagram right away on April 5th. Because I was really hoping to see the streets flooded in America, in all the cities, and they fucking were. Yeah. And that made me so happy. I was just outside a pub smoking a cigarette, like tears down my face, like, yeah, we fucking did it. Because the reality is there's more people in America that care and that are kind and that want the best for everybody and that want actual equality. And so it was really beautiful to see. And I think a system has to crumble for it to be rebuilt. And very clearly, many systems in America need to be rebuilt. And so we're watching them crumble. We're watching the president tank the stock market, and we're watching, and it's like, yes, these things are scary, but don't the second you feel fear creep up, take a breath, okay? Because that's not going to help. Yes, what's happening is a little scary, but what's really cool about this is how we make a pivot. And I think candidates like you running for office, your heart is in the right place. There's just
that's never really helped me before.
I know, but I want that to actually be helpful and an advantage to a candidate.
I know you do, and it's so sweet. But I literally said to my campaign manager yesterday, I feel like I'm being too genuine, and it's really working against me. And I honestly feel that.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like. A lot of people, especially men, are really good at having like these concocted personalities that people really buy.
Yeah.
And
it's called late night television host.
Yeah. I really just don't even know where one would go or how one would go about crafting such a personality. Like, I'm not really interested in having that, but just like,
how do you even get it?
Just for shits and giggles. Like if I concocted, like,
I think you have to think of the end goal of what you want, how you want people to react to you, and go from there.
I want people to be able, but I mean, like, I think it's also the problem is that like I think that there are more important goals than me personally winning the election, which is a terrible strategy to win an election.
That'd be a little less authentic, Corinne.
I think it's like
we
want to, you know, in my mind, it's like the candidates who are not evil should really be. We want to be working together to make sure that this one evil candidate. I mean, there's I think Andrew Cuomo is truly an evil person. I don't think Eric Adams is evil. I think he is someone who
his ego's a little.
His ego and his quest for power have diverted him from the course that he set out on originally. And also, there's just like being involved in a corrupt institution like the NYPD for many years.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of layers there.
I could have a beer with Eric Adams and have a good time.
I think we all could, and that's the problem.
Right. I could not have a beer with Cuomo and have a good time.
Yeah.
Because I'd be drugged.
Right. I don't think he's not doing that.
I'm too old, probably.
I don't think he's doing that.
No, I know.
But
that's not on the table for the allegations. So
well, I mean,
he sucks. Cuomo's an evil piece of shit, and Eric doesn't have that in him.
I think there's something very interesting about me telling people you shouldn't accept being lied to. Makes people think I am lying to them.
Right, because we hear that from people. Yeah, maybe because we hear that from politicians as they're lying.
Just like critically think, and like if something starts to feel culty or something starts to feel like we're not questioning this person anymore, and like nothing they can do is wrong.
Right.
In any instance, no matter what party line they are on, I just think that's strange.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's strange.
Well, and that's why like a lot of listeners of our show are helping the campaign by donating, by reaching out to press. Like it is a group project, but it's a group project ran by people that fucking know you.
Right.
You know, if you've been listening to every person I talked to in England was like, I've listened to you for 10, 12, like
everyone doesn't have a decade to campaign. If I had a decade to campaign, Krystyna, man, would I win this election.
Yeah. Right. But that's why like they're the listeners of the show that are moved by you running and actually fucking doing it and getting off their ass and telling somebody in New York that they're voting, to donate or whatever. These are the people that know you and get you. And it is rare in the comedy industry to have fans for this long and to have fans that know you and fucks with you like y'all do.
Right.
And but also I don't know a single stand-up comedian with a podcast who has thousands of people that have left an abusive relationship because of listening to a podcast, of listening to like the philosophies and talking out like, what do you want for your life and how could you live a better life and how could you look at those areas that need to be looked at that are scary and all this shit. Like the impact of Guys We Fucked is so potent, but that's why I get so excited about your campaign, because it's like what you can do for a population could actually it's just all good.
Well, I think
it's only good.
Goal here is like whatever, to take away from various things we do. But like in this instance, we're working on the campaign. So I think it's like, hopefully this inspires you to do the thing that you wanted to do and to not be complacent with what you have if you're not happy with it, and to realize we can all take steps every day to make the world a better place for each other. But I mean, like, it really is just like a lot of times people will say power to the people and stuff like that, and like are like kind of like, well, what does that really mean? But it's just like, all the steps along the way to running for office or getting elected to a specific office that you have to take, and that we do have control. Like it's a numbers game, and we do have control, but we've been convinced that we don't have control, and too many people have believed that narrative for too long.
Yeah.
And I mean things like, Donald Trump, throwing us all into fits of hysteria is really working quite well.
Yeah. Yeah. His little gaslighting tactics are, I read Rachel. I fucking love Rachel Maddow.
Oh, I was just watching a clip of her on the way here.
I love her so much.
Wait, did you hear?
If I was gay, I would date Rachel Maddow if she would have me.
Did you hear? Yeah, she's very pretty. Did you hear that?
She's I would feel so protected by her.
Did you hear the whole thing about, what's his, Ron Vera,
yes, that's what I was the made up.
Yeah.
So he was the one, Jared Kushner was tasked with researching how to make the economy better by Donald Trump. He went to Amazon and looked up books and found a book by Ron Vera that was all these
by Peter Navarro.
So who cited Ron Vera
multiple times in his economic text
as this expert and as proof that Peter Navarro's tariff idea is a good idea because Ron Vera said it was.
Actually a genius idea. We should make up a fake
Ron Vera doesn't fucking exist, you guys.
It's a made-up expert that that Peter Navarro used to cite in all his books.
And that's why Trump's doing the tariffs.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
As to why tariffs are a good idea. It's based on books by Peter Navarro where he continuously cites Ron Vera, who is truly a made-up based on the letters of his own name.
Yeah.
Made up.
It's like if you switch the letters of Corinne Fisher and made another guy's name.
Yeah.
That's what he did. He doesn't exist. So Trump told his son-in-law to go to Amazon.com and look up books about the economy. And he found one where he cites tariffs are the way to go.
Funny.
And the expert of this whole backbone of the book is this guy, Ron Vera, who doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, dude, that's fucking hilarious.
No one thought to Google Ron Vera.
Just a Google. You didn't even have to use ChatGPT.
No one thought to maybe I'm the president. I could give Ron Vera a call.
Maybe get him in here.
Get Ron Vera on the horn. But it's just Peter Navarro going.
Peter Navarro, isn't he part of Trump's team now or something?
Yeah, he came on.
He came on the team, right?
As some kind of fucking head of economics or strategist or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Bro, this is what's happening is it's awful. People's families are getting deported. And then, and the Justice Department is like, oopsie poopsie, we made a mistake, which is at least a little refreshing, I guess, to hear somebody on the Trump side say we made a mistake.
It also does speak to a bit of the lack of corruption in voting. Because again, I was really convinced that they wouldn't let Trump win, but they did.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
they did. But now everybody's getting pissed off, and it's so cool to see everybody flood the streets. And it's a great opportunity for the left, for people that voted for Trump and people that voted for Kamala. Let's come together because fuck that. We gotta remind ourselves that the powers that be are the ones profiting and benefiting off of Democrats hating Republicans and vice versa. That is just a fucking tactic.
Well, yeah, because this is a war between billionaires and the rest of us.
Yes. And so I loved seeing, it sucks that it comes to, look, I thought my mom was my best friend for most of my life. So I get what it's like to really think somebody's in your corner and then go, oh, shit, you weren't. I got. It sucks. It's embarrassing. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Let's all come together. And I wish it didn't take, somebody who voted for Trump, their wife to get deported. But unfortunately, that's what's going to happen to change minds. But it's really cool to see a lot of people that voted for Trump that are angry and that are showing up because they're angry. I fucking love that, man.
Yeah.
It's very promising.
Like we said, it's okay. It's okay to make a mistake. Just say
it.
Just say, you know what? I made a mistake and I was wrong. But there are a lot of liberals who are like, yeah, you were wrong. Don't sit in it.
And liberals that do that, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
Stop.
I mean, you don't know where these people were coming. I'm just not that angry. I go, okay, well, yeah, that was unfortunate that you got for so long.
It was unfortunate.
We've all gotten got.
Girl, I got so many times. Have you got though?
Yeah.
I can think of one time where you got.
Yeah. Yeah. I got. I was
and honestly, I was
got-gotter too.
And I was like, Corinne can got.
I can get got.
I was bummed that happened to you, but I was like, wow, it really is. Anybody can get got.
Really humanized.
When I saw Corinne got. Yeah. I'm like, anyone can get got.
It happens. It happens. Well, I got 2 times. The one you don't know about is when I was Instagram food influenced to go to this place called Mystery Scoop, and then they just gave me a scoop of vanilla. That was the second time I got.
That sucks. Not as much as that other time.
I paid $10 for a scoop of vanilla ice cream, and I said, am I fucking losing my mind here? Mystery Scoop.
It is the magic ice cream. It will change your life.
Oh my
you
God.
will shit on the sidewalk.
I was so mad.
Oh, man. Well, we all get got.
Oh, God. All right.
All right. Today's guest. Beautiful conversation. I've had a lot of deep convos with this man because him and I have had similar mental breakdowns, and so I always like talking to people on the other side of their mental breakdown.
Yeah.
He's a great stand-up comedian. And we have a great conversation about topics that have to do with trauma and psychedelics and healing and having a partner that is that's truly ride or die. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show,
Mike Fanoia.